The Handmaid's Tale. Did the book or TV series do it better? Let's start with the differences between Gilead's characters from the page to the screen. First, we have our protagonist, Offred, aka June Osborne in the show, played by Emmy winner Elisabeth Moss. In the series, she has blonde hair and blue eyes and is quite short, whereas in the book, she is a bit taller with long, unkempt brown hair. Her personality is also different in the show. She is more outspoken and rebellious versus her book counterpart. Next up is Janine, played by Madeline Brewer. In the series, she is of average height and has red hair. She also has one eye, with the other being hidden behind an eye patch. In the books, she is described as always wearing the typical handmaid's outfit, and she has an injured leg, but she keeps both of her eyes. In the series, she is also more rebellious, butting heads with the commanders and especially Aunt Lydia. Another important character is Nick, played by Minghella. In the books, he is described as lean and whimsical with a French face. In the series, he is still lean, but more rugged and depressed. The book also doesn't give him much of a backstory or a last name, whereas in the series, he is more developed. He is Nick Blaine from Michigan, and he gets a job as an eye to spy on Commander Waterford after the first Offred hanged herself. Offglen, played by Alexis Bledel, is another important handmaiden in the story. In the series, she is revealed to be named Dr. Emily Malik. She is a brunette with bright blue eyes and has a very small frame and an average height. In the book, she is a bit plumper with brown eyes and modestly presents herself to hide from those around her. Next is Fred Waterford, played by Joseph Fiennes, one of the main antagonists of the story. In the series, Fred is in his 40s and in a high rank in the commanders of Gilead. In the book, however, he is much older and described as a Midwestern bank president with gray hair, and his role in Gilead's structure is not clear like it is in the series. Yvonne Stravowski plays Serena Joy Waterford, the commander's wife. In the series, she is in her 30s with beautiful blonde hair, whereas in the book, she is an older, bitter woman with a cane and arthritis. Offred mentions how much she wants to dye Serena's hair blonde to cover up all of her gray hair. While season 1 is very close to the book, there were some changes between the novel and the series adaptation. One of the major changes to the series is Offred's identity. From the pilot episode, we know that Offred's real name, pre-Gilead, is June Osborne. However, in the book, the protagonist is never named. She is only referred to as Offred, her Gilead name. In the end of the first chapter, Margaret Atwood writes that there is a group of women laying on the floor named Alma, Janine, Dolores, Moira, and June, and for the rest of the novel, all of the other women's names are mentioned again, aside from June's, which prompted many fans to interpret Offred's real name as June, and the series ran with it. Another major change is that the series takes place in the present day, unlike in the book. Atwood offers evidence that Offred and the rest of the characters lived during the 70s and 80s before and after their time in Gilead. In the series, however, we see cell phones and June references Uber, clearly implying that the setting has been updated to the present day. We also have to talk about Offred's husband, Luke. In the books, he's more of a background character who only exists in Offred's mind. She always thinks about their relationship, and although she thinks he is dead, she clings to the hope that she might see him again. Readers were never provided with more information about his fate beyond their separation. In season 1, we find out that he survived and managed to cross the border to Canada, where he joins the resistance to save his family. And with Janine in the series, she gives birth to a healthy baby and later tries to commit suicide. This does not exist in the book. Instead, the baby is deemed unhealthy and does not live long after it is born. But the baby in the series is shown to be healthy and thriving, and this prompts the commanders to order her to leave the house so that she can help other commanders and their wives have a child. Things get way too overwhelming for her, and she believes that her former commander will come to save her and help her escape for romantic reasons. And when this doesn't happen, she tries to jump into the river. There are also small details that have changed between the two. For example, Hannah is abducted earlier in the show. She was merely a few hours old as June and Luke were fleeing from the hospital where she was kidnapped. In the book, however, she was about 11 months old when she was kidnapped at a supermarket. Also, TV June loves to protest. In the books, there is very little evidence to suggest that June is an activist. In the show, we see her join Moira as a reaction to women no longer having money or being allowed to have jobs. And we have to talk about that ending. In the book, the story ends without any information about Luke and Hannah, and June is taken away by the eyes after Serena finds out she went to Jezebel's. The series follows this narrative of the novel in the first season, but then it goes beyond that, incorporating more backstory for all of the major characters and new plot lines for the audience to follow along with. Now, let's talk about what the series got right and what they got wrong. One of the greatest strengths of the series is how it incorporates diversity into its large cast. The novel only focuses on the experiences of white men and women in Gilead as the people of color were removed from society through resettlements. Queer individuals were also removed from society thanks to Gilead's homophobic nature, as we see with women like Emily. The series instead brings in the voices and experiences of Black characters like Luke and Moira, which enhances the storytelling and the themes that Atwood first wrote. We don't just see oppression through the lens of white people, but we see it through many other diverse characters and their lenses, which makes the story more relatable for people of any background. Another great strength of the series is that there is more room for the writers to explore and develop characters mentioned in the book. For example, Aunt Lydia is only ever really mentioned in Offred's flashbacks and is more of a one-dimensional character in the book. In the series, we come to know her more fully, and we see her background and what led her to become an aunt in Gilead in the first place. We also see her inner complexities as a woman putting all of these other women through Gilead's abuse machine. Similarly, Luke is much more fleshed out, and we see that he actually struggles while he's in Canada trying to reunite with Hannah and June. Even Nick's storyline, as changed around as it is the same arc, but the writers of the series incorporate a lot more backstory for him and shows us his thought process and how he helps June. However, as much as the series had its strengths, it did have a few weaknesses too. One major weakness of the series is its repetitive plot points as the show moved beyond season 1. Starting with season 2, the writers really took creative freedom in how they stretched June's story further. But the writers have kept repeating the same violence against women over and over again. Season 3 tried to go deeper into the emotional themes of the show, but gave viewers little to learn about Gilead other than the obvious: the regime is horrible, evil, and deserves to be destroyed. Sure, it's a character study that goes into the psychology of why these Gilead commanders are the way that they are, but at what cost? Boring audiences with the same story beats, or normalizing the violence against women. Which brings me to another weakness in the adaptation: the focus on shocking horrors rather than offering hope or a positive outcome. Yes, it's Hollywood, and the series did need to entertain viewers, but it should also offer glimmers of hope or positive outcomes that audiences can root for. In season 2, when June had the opportunity to flee from Gilead, she makes the decision to stay and try to save her daughter Hannah instead. Understandable, but the series continues to drag on with similar storylines after that. It's almost as if the show relies too heavily on appealing to viewers' emotions rather than trying to deliver satisfying story arcs. Alright, so which one wins, the book or the TV series? Despite what I've said, for me, it is the series. It really brings Margaret Atwood's story to life in this bleak dystopian way, and it really enhances the themes that she presents in her novel. Plus, knowing what's going on in society now, the series really has an added eeriness to it. But what do you think? Do you think the adaptation did the book justice, or are you a fan of the original novel? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell, and I'll see you next time right here on Collider.